I say so every single day, just focus on understanding that if you're really, really doing something to help yourself, then what you're looking for is your imagination, where you can understand to express that. You have to express the factor over here. Understand that if you want attraction with some woman or something, you want to understand every single day how to feel. You have to feel all the time how you're understanding life itself. You have to understand every single day that it's more like that. I mean, it's more like a nice and beautiful way. You're looking at the nice and beautiful way of life over here. You understand every single day, looking at the best kind of attempt over here. Understand that you have much more to give, and then you understand every single day. You're looking for that beautiful aspect of life every single day to focus on understanding that what you want is eternity in what you say, and you're making sure all the time you have that way of life. When you have that way of life every single day in different ways, once you understand that no matter what, that what I want to do, I want to make sure I keep going. Because guess what? I deserve something much more. Because what do I deserve? I deserve to just express myself with words. But I'm never getting old because I understand anyway that I feel that I'm always understanding that eternal life and everybody's watching. Because guess what? Brush, it's more how I feel. But if you want to understand that I'm always attractive and I love everything as much as possible, but I'm understanding that if you want to express yourself differently, brush, it's much more how I feel. I see words never really express anything other than life. You must understand, so what you want out of life is to succeed differently. And you want to make sure all the time you're learning very quickly upon how to become much more. So if you want to understand every single day, you want to understand life. When you understand something in life, guess what? I understand it's much more about expression of mindset here. But it's much more expression of mindset than the pleasure. Understand? So you must understand that if I do anything in life, I can see the pleasure of life is different. But I'm understanding that no matter what, you must understand that anything you want out of life is to succeed differently. So if you succeed differently in ways of what you're doing, then you understand that no matter what, that fine, I attractive, but guess what, Brush, it's more how I need to live this way, Brush, it's more how I do better than that. So make sure you understand that what's important for myself is to find what's attractive to me, and then I express myself through that. Because anything that is more to me is being able to love myself differently. And as I love myself differently, I make sure I realize something. I realize it's just how it is. It's just how it is. So what's the difference between what I'm doing every single day? Because the difference is every single day you must understand how to go and grow yourself, but every single day you're learning. And this is the way of life now. It's a different way to do everything. And that's why you are learning very quickly upon what you need to do to succeed every single day. Then you're understanding that no matter what, you understand every single time what pleasure is. And pleasure is something to do with the nice and beautiful way. So you must understand. So if you want to go and do something to understand how people get pleasure, what they do is they show you their aspects of life in different ways. And they show everything about them. They show definitely about what you need to do to get them. And that's the only way. Virtually every single time. Just understand that's what they're all about, all the time. And they're just about pleasure, understand? They're more about pleasure in life than anything else. But guess what, Broshi? That's why you need to realize something. Broshi, it's more about how I teach you about the expression of mindset over anything else. But every single time, if you want to really, really understand somebody, then understand understand that is what I need. Understand that what I understand every single day is to focus upon understanding how nice and beautiful somebody is. Understand? That's nice and beautiful. Because guess what, Proshi, if you have any kind of empathy in life, guess what? Make sure you understand. Make sure you understand that what you need to do is love your life completely in different ways. Understand? Because guess what, Proshi, it's much more like that, isn't it? You're always looking for that nice and beautiful attractive factor, but you're making sure that you understand how people treat themselves with what they're doing. So you're always looking for that way of life over here. And if you're looking for the way of life, then you understand that no matter what, it's more how you need to give. Give always. Give that nice, beautiful life always. every single day, if you understand that no matter what, I look at nice and beautiful aspects of life differently. But the shifty thing about life is understanding that if you're doing pleasure about expression or mindset in words, to make sure you understand it's much more how I understand to teach you exactly the nice and beautiful life I have. Because what amazing grace I have to be able to express myself with words as I do pleasure with words. I understand, so no matter what, it's much more how I feel. But I feel that no matter what, that I feel how other people are too much into pleasure without communication of words. And I'm just doing far more than them in words today. But it's just that kind of thing, yeah. I mean, now, what's even better is just doing the words. But actually just doing the words is much more. I mean, if you're always preparing yourself for something greater, then always wash yourself and wash everything you want. I mean, guess what? I mean, every single day you're learning. I mean, you're learning something very nice. But it's just that expression. I mean, the expression of what? I mean, the expression of speaking words much more than pleasure. And then you understand that no matter what, that you're learning very quickly upon that nice and beautiful attitude all the time. I mean, making sure that you understand all the time how this is, and every single day you're actually just enjoying that. Because if you enjoy that, I mean, you can see how every single day you can see no matter what how people are. I mean, every single day you're looking at that nice and beautiful whatever it is, and you're making sure that you can see what you're understanding. So that's why it's a temptation always to understand how I feel. So the attraction of what I feel is, if you have attraction in terms of pleasure for anybody, then guess what? Then you're urging yourself to keep doing pleasure with them. But that's addiction. That's addiction. The more pleasure you have with other people, the more you want to do pleasure with them. That's destructive. So if you keep away from people and you delay gratification as much as you can, I mean, now you're more successful. I can see that. I can see how a woman can just go and really masturbate to themselves. If I can do it for 10 hours, man. You understand? I mean, they can do it for a long time. You understand? And because they do it for a long time, man, guess what? If you're watching them, guess what, man? Make sure you're doing audio content as well. And make sure you understand that what's successful about an individual is understanding that no matter what, I'm learning very quickly upon going to the nice and beautiful Woolworths over there, because I understand it anyway. I have to get some food and drink. Now, I understand either way that it's much more the words again and again. But the words again and again is helping me, and I understand Jesus Christ can do. I understand Jesus Christ can see that. I mean, the words again and again are much. I mean, words are much more than pleasure. I can see it now. Now, I'm understanding. I'm understanding more and more as I do pleasure. I'm understanding more the words. I mean, more the words. I understand, because that's the thing about life. I mean, if you have words to say, then you have all the time in the world to do everything you want. I say, guys, so make sure you understand you're always washing yourself and your genitals if you have a toilet break or something like that. So make sure you're always giving some kind of individual anything that they want. So I'm always looking for something to give my biological dad in terms of anything. So when I look at something to give, I'm actually understanding always that if you play other people's music, I mean, or else if you play music in front of them, or else guess what, they hate you. I mean, they hate you. And why is that? Because you're playing music to them. I mean, if you play music to people, they hate you. Understand? And now I realize that. I realize it's much more how I feel. So every single time, if you play any music to them, they hate you. Now, those are negative people. Negative people love music, but guess what? It's more, if you play music to people, it's more how they love it. It's pleasure all the time. Now, if I play music to my biological dad today, if I play his music, he loves it. Now, guess what? Here, he has to love it. So, although, I want to let it be, but it's more how I feel. Now, understand no matter what, I have to get some noodles. I write my notes down. I understand either way that eternal life right here is something amazing, but this one over here, I understand I have to go and do greater. I see it now. I see this is amazing, huh? It's much more amazing. So, guess what? I understand, but guess what? It's much more how I feel. And the thing is, I feel that I've been doing a disservice here. I mean, why is that? I mean, it's much more how I feel about words. I have more words with them here. But I love everything. I love everything. But guess what? It's more how I feel. And it's more how I understand here is a kind of thing where I'm saying, ooh. I mean, guess what? It's like a fantasy. But I understand that somebody else did happen before me. And they are together now. And I love it. But it's more how I look stupid. I look stupid over here. I love it. I mean, but guess what? I mean, you must understand this. Whereas it's much more about communicational skills here. But I know my word I. I know my word I, anyway. But because I know my word I realize either way. I realize it looks what? I realize it looks stupid. I mean, it looks stupid because I understand that they were together and I was fantasizing about somebody that had somebody else. I mean, understand? But that's the thing, yeah? I mean, isn't it stupid when somebody has a boyfriend or they have a boyfriend or woman in their life and you fantasize about their woman? I mean, is it stupid? I mean, of course it's stupid. It's just no stupid thing in life. Understand? And guess what? It's much more how I have Danny's fantasies. I promote all these women as well. I promote them as greatness too. Now that's never stupid, is it? Now either way, I'll move on. So what I want to do is I'll move up and I say, hey, a little bit. I'll go and do some nice and beautiful content over here. I make sure I bring my jacket all the time and make sure I make a food list because I want to make some pasta tonight. I make some pasta tonight. I say pasta. I say over here, I say noodles. I say I have a guitar. I have some bread. I have some bread. I get 2 soy milks. That's more enough for me. That's all, man. I mean, write your licks. I mean, write your nice and beautiful way of life over here. I mean, write your food list before you go somewhere. But guess what? I'm happier. I mean, everybody can see. I mean, Eddie Guerrero can see that I'm happier, man. He can see I'm happier. I mean, guess what? I'm doing much better. I mean, he says, "Viva la raza." But guess what? Rosh, it's much more. I'm honest, man. But guess what? Rosh, it's much more. I respect everybody. Rosh, excellent. Rosh says, excellent, homie. Rosh, you must understand. But it's much more how I feel. I understand I made some mistakes, man. I made some mistakes in pleasure. Rosh, my biggest mistakes came from pleasure. Understand? And that's it. Rosh, my biggest mistake in life is never speaking more words. And that's it. Understand? Rosh, that's everybody's biggest mistake. I promise you. And that's it. Rosh, the biggest regret in life is never speaking more words. I promise you. Rosh, now, anyway. Rosh, back then, I promise you, I understand how it was back then without technology and without phones. I understand how it was. But I'm making a difference. I'm showing you guys exactly what a free program looks like. I do it for free, but guess what? I realize regardless of how my words come out, I realize my words are very positive, regardless of what I'm doing. Understand? So let it be. I'll make sure you guys understand that I have to show you something. I have to always figure out something to give my biological dad. So I give him something. I always give him something. I mean, every fucking time I see him, I give him something. I realize Jesus Christ sees this, man. I mean, Eddie Guerrero sees this one, man. I give it to him. He loves this, man. And this is the biggest joke on him, man. I was like, clean your ears a bit. Clean your ears. I get to call him tips, man. I mean, every single time. That if you understand, now I just go and ask him to get the nice and beautiful. Let's say I get his car, but I give him something before I ask, because that way he says yes always. And that's how long. I say, ja, brate, ovako, ja moram da idem tamo, samo da idem da dam pare da imam, moram da dam pare. Ja idem da dam pare da imam tamo da jedem. See your steps, brate. I see your steps on calling tips as well. Hello. Hello. see some cognitive. I see some cognitives over here. He loves cognitive. I do this always do this now. I always give people who are negative something before I ask. So I give them something before I ask. I mean, when they get angry, I mean, get something to give them, brother and sisters. I mean, guess what I mean? You must understand. And if somebody's angry at you, and give them something before they, give them something before they get angry. And I mean, give them something all the time. So, no matter what, or else if I borrow my dad's car, that's my biological dad's car for 7 hours, I'll come and say, I'll get you this one over here. But guess what I mean? He's looking at the thing, or he's looking at this, he forgot about 7 hours of having his car. He forgot about 7 hours of having his car because I gave him something already. But Jesus Christ understands that. But she never gets angry because I gave him something first and then I return his keys. But if I say 1 hour I borrow his car, but I go for 24 hours and I give him a business card or something, I give him something that I got him or something, I realize I did give him something before I return his car keys after 24 hours. But she never gets angry. He sees like I gave him something. It's the funniest thing I've ever seen. Cognitive tips. I mean, whoa. I mean, that's his mindset. It's the biggest joke. I see this, man. I mean, I see my biological parents, in terms of my biological grandma and grandfather, are laughing, man. It's the funniest thing because I gave my biological dad, I gave him a business card. When I gave him my business card yesterday. I gave him another business card. I mean, he never says anything about that. I gave him some microphone. He loves the microphone. But then I gave him some cognitive tips. I gave him some sparkling water. But she never says anything here. But she just keeps receiving, brother and sisters. But she's just receiving all the time what I'm giving him. I mean, he has no complaints about this. He has no complaints. I understand. I mean, he feels rich. He feels rich, I promise you. I promise you, he feels rich when I give him cognitive tips. I love life. I mean, that's how it is. Maybe. I give him soon money. And I drop some money in his pocket. And guess what? Fortunately, either way, which is the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. I mean, he's just that kind of guy. I mean, understand? I mean, he's just the kind of guy where I have to give him all this plastic material that he wants, or else he wants all plastic material. I mean, he never chucks his plastic. I mean, you guys must understand that he never ever chucks his plastic money or anything in terms of life. So, guess what? I never chuck plastic money. I use up everything I have. But he uses up everything he can in terms of material things. But with material things, I fucking chuck it out. I chuck the car out. I never fucking need a car anymore. I still use plastic money. But I try to travel with just my shoulder bag and trolley. And I try to travel with a nice and beautiful way of life over here. In a way that I have to watch out. Because this now is pleasure for me. But guess what, Portia, now I understand that. But guess what, Portia, that's a temptation right here. And I'm not saying I apologize for that because I understand better than that. Now either way, I understand it's discipline. But guess what, Portia, disciplined people, because the people who have discipline are different. But now I realize that I can give people cigarettes and money, and I can give them any type of money. I can give them money. I can give them, let's say, plastic material. I can give them cigarettes if they want. I mean, if they smoke cigarettes and you get them cigarettes, I mean, they love you. And they love you if you get them cigarettes. Understand? So what you do is focus on understanding that they associate you with pleasure. Understand? Which is how it is. Understand? I see how to build connections with I can see how to build connections with negative people. So now I understand when you ask questions, when you ask people questions online about anything, and they never answer, it's because you need to keep messaging them to make them feel pleasure. But if you make them feel pleasure about you more and more, eventually, guess what happens? They want to message you to give you some pleasure as well. In a sense, the reason I believe I understand every single day how to succeed. I feel attraction with this woman, but I understand that she has somebody. A little bit, but it's more how I feel. And now with her, I realize that she's somebody who wants to speak a lot of words to me. And I realize she's more the words kind of individual. And now I let her be that way. I mean, I want to understand it anyway. I love her, but I realize now. If you want to understand somebody, you understand she in terms of caloric gauge, and I understand this one here. Now I always name them as well. Whereas now I understand she is more, let's say, I mean, she has attraction for me. I mean, she has pleasure temples with me. You know, or she's more pleasure with me, or she, and that's it. I mean, she has no communicational signal other than pleasure with me, and that's it. I mean, sense that she wants to just have sex with me, and that's it. Or she finds me very attractive. So what I do is I move on. Whereas now I'm better at all that. I make sure that make sure you understand. If I talk too much about anything in life, make sure you understand I have to express myself. Whereas now what I want to do is I want to focus on something greater now. I want to focus on making sure that if I go and talk something about you in life, I make sure they understand. It's much more how I feel. But I make sure all the time that I have much better than that. So what I do is every single time that if I mention somebody and I say something about them, then it's the case for me as well. So anyway, I realize that. So I have no worries about that. But that's the thing. That's eternal life. And eternal life is being able to express yourself. If you can express yourself and you're really honest, that's how it is. But people feel a lot of pleasure temples with me over here. And why is that? Because they see I have a lot of fantasies. And because I have a lot of fantasies, when they can see which woman and that, and they associate my fantasies list in terms of my woman's fantasy list with pleasure. So that way they see, hey, Danny's attractive. He at least does that. But then with Mother Nature, this is more words. There's more words over here in Mother Nature. And Mother Nature is so beautiful, I promise you. And I have Mother Nature photos. And I post 6 a day over here. And I show people, whoa, look at this. So I show people a nice and beautiful Instagram, but with mentors, this is more words. But fantasy land, in terms of woman, I realize that's different. I can make it men. I can do men, but guess what? That's more pleasure, and I never need to do men. I never need to do men because I've never liked that. I never need to go gay. I'm never gay, but I realize now you must understand that if you find people attractive in terms of that, approaching that is more pleasure. Approaching men, if I promote Danny's fantasy men or some shit, fuck off. I never do that. Understand? But every single day, if I promote men, I promote them as greatness in terms of somebody who can teach you something. But that's how I feel. So every single time, I look at people in terms of words, and now some people I promote, I understand everything is greatness. I understand that straight away. So what I do is I make sure now, that since I'm feeling this way now, I want to make sure that I can go to nice and beautiful office works now as well and get my business cards, but let it be now. I let it be, because guess what? I realize now, that's the thing. I realize now, if I want to go and do that now, it's $350, but I do it in the later part. So I want to understand either way. I see people over here, and I see they're all with pleasure. I realize every single time, I can see how much pleasure they want. Whereas now, if you understand anything about life, I can see straight away how to talk to people through pleasure. In a sense, what I do is I realize that woman's more words. So if you're picking somebody today, I understand that you go for words more than pleasure. Understand? So that's how it is. But if you understand now, I realize that right there. He's more words, man. I can feel it. But more words, approach if people have more words, and if people have more words, then they are more people, let's say, in a way of leadership. So I was that way over there. I realize now, either way, I understand something. I understand if you're really, really helping yourself, and help yourself. Or that guy over there is something more pleasure. Apparently, he's more the drunk type. So anybody who wants pleasure in life are people who want pleasure. Since I never need pleasure in my life, I need to go more, let's say, words. So I'm more words always. Guess what? I'm always more words, but I see pleasure in the fucking olives. I see pleasure in olives. So guess what? I eliminate it. I never need fucking pleasure from olives. But that's why veganism is so excellent. Because if you turn vegan, now you remove so many, let's say, aspects of pleasure in your life. And guess what? You're removing so many foods and drinks from your life. to make sure that you're learning very quickly upon success. But you must understand anyway, if you go and promote yourself to people quickly, then guess what? I promise you it's much more how I feel. But I understand every single day that what's important is a great way of life. So always understand that every single day I love life and I see those two women are pleasure always. I understand either way. Alright, now I want to understand that it's how I go through life, guys. I go through life doing this audio programs like this, and it's the best thing of my life because I get to speak to people always. I get to be doing my content. I get to be doing my content always. Whereas I have all of that. I have all that. I understand either way. Whereas now, which one does Jesus Christ want today? I want to ask Jesus Christ which one he wants. I mean, for pasta. Now Jesus Christ says, I look to Jesus Christ to see. Jesus Christ wants to have these ones over here. I can see it because I feel the energy is pointing to these ones. Now that's what I do. I ask Jesus Christ sometimes what to eat or drink or what photo to post online, like that, because that's how I am. So every single time I look to see that with those people, of course it's more words. Of course now I understand every single time now. But what I do is I check out my food list. And now I understand I have to get my nice little noodles here. And now noodles is pleasure. Noodles is pleasure. Now that's how I feel. So you must understand that since I understand food and drink, I understand every single time I can see straight away that anybody who's obese, just get them food and cake. You understand? I'm pretty sure if they're obese and fat and whatever, all they want from you is food and drink, honestly. That's how I can be with a fat woman. Not lie. I'm pretty sure I understand Jesus Christ understands that. Just give them fucking food and drink, I'm pretty sure I love you. I'm pretty sure very fat people want just food and drink from you. They just want food and drink from you. Nothing else but food and drink. And get them some clothing. Get them some clothing. Understand? So you can understand that. So I have 2 soy milks and pasta. So that's my day, man. My day is doing better now. I'm focusing on making sure now I do much better. I make sure I have hummus. I have hummus over here. The hummus is different, huh? Hummus is different, but guess what? I understand either way. So what's amazing about this one, I want to check these hummus over here. I want to check the actual labels over here with hummus. See garlic dip. It doesn't have preservatives stuff. I want to see, because most fucking, this one here, this one is a yogurt or something. That's a yogurt. I see this one here. I want to make sure that these nice and beautiful, let's say hummus. You have to always read the label. Otherwise that one has preservatives, 202. Let's have a look at it here. I see garlic dip. I realize garlic dip. Guess what? I understand. $8 each. I want to see it straight away. I want to read the knowledge regardless. Now I see this. 59 grams of fat per 100 gram. You can only ever have 10 grams of fat per 100 grams, guys. 10 grams of fat per 100 gram. Check the label. Never ever eat 59 grams of fat per 100 grams. So what I'll do all the time is I'll understand straight away how to look at people, and how I look at people is how the pleasure is with them. Now, if they're too much into pleasure, then they seek to fight you. They seek to be arrogant about you. So you must understand. So what I do is I focus on understanding. I can straight away see how people get arrogant. Since I understand this, I want to understand this. So I can have a little juice. I have a little juice over here. Now I'll get this one here. I get these ones. I realize these ones are 250 ml of juice. 250 ml, and it's the prune juice. This one is the actual pomegranate. Let's see, pomegranate. How many vowels is that? I see pomegranate. Let's see, 4 vowels. I get 2 soy milks and I go. That's how I am, guys. So I never eat crackers. I never eat any crackers. I can eat peanuts. Crackers is bad for your teeth. But everything's good. I just never eat crackers because it ruins my teeth. Understand? It's stupid. It's junk. Crackers is junk food. Whereas those green peas ones, the dried green peas, I never eat that. I never eat that because I understand either way. But what I want to do is I want to go for words. I want to go for unsweet and I want to go for less sweet soy milk. And either way, I want to focus upon understanding that I get this one too because I want some chocolate kind of, let's say, flavoring. But this one is never chocolate flavoring, but it tastes like chocolate. But it's not flavoring. I want to find out actually what kind of flavoring it is because I understand that one there is actually more words. Whereas it's a raw sugar, whereas this one's more raw sugar. So raw sugar is like a chocolate flavor. Understand? And that's how I feel. I mean, in the sense that every single day focus upon understanding. You need more leadership skills always in terms of what you're doing. So focus on understanding that if you see people and how they are, they're more into pleasure always. So I have to give card. I give you card. Thank you. Whereas now either way, I realize that what I do is to make sure I can see straight away how people are treating me and how I do great. So every single day, I make sure you guys understand. I'm just shopping. I'm just at the supermarket, but I have to go to Officeworks now. I have to go to Officeworks and I have to go and promote my business cards in different ways. So you can see QSpace. I mean, you can see QSpace Hotel, and they allow me to just write off. I mean, they love me, man. And you can see that. Unfortunately, either way, unfortunately, I'll just do it better. I do greater now. So what I do is I just make sure I'm learning very quickly upon what I need to do. Whereas now, either way, whereas if you want to do something greater, then make sure you understand level I. See, I think a $150 discount and more. I see that. A little bit. Thank you very much. Bye. See, so today's shopping is with food and drink around $15.10. So either I give people money by my card. I want to give my card. So guess what? I go for my card over here. Whereas now, because of that, it's much more happening. I give them my card straight away, or I give them my card. I give them my actual phone. Whereas now, if I do that, whereas it's much more I'll do that. I'm going to try it. I'm going to do my phone.
To finalize your payment.
Whereas my phone always works. Whereas now, my phone always works. Say no, please. I never print receipts because I save plastic. I save paper, so I never print receipts. I never print receipts because my Commonwealth Bank has receipts already, and I have receipts in my Commonwealth Bank account, or in my bank account. I have receipts of the transactions, so I never get receipts out stored over here. Whereas now, if you look at women or men in a pleasure term, see, do they want pleasure from you? Or then, if they're never looking at you, it's because they never find you, let's say, or they're unaware of you. And that's it. I mean, you have to make them aware of you, and that's it. That's all you do is move up into the section of doing greater in words. I mean, the words is what you want. I mean, every single day. I thank you. Every single day I see that one is more into words, and I understand that what I want to do all the time is I want to make sure all the time to focus upon understanding. I see that guy is more words. Whereas now I see it's much more how I feel, and I see how different people are. But I'm understanding every single day how I need to always do better. But as I do better, I can see how I need to go and just do myself a favor to show you really quickly upon why I actually do this. I mean, why do I actually talk to myself 24/7 like this? I mean, you guys can see I'm building my legacy. And so I'm building my legacy. I'm teaching you. I'm walking around the car park now. I'm at the car park here now. I'm making sure you understand it either way. I'm loving my life. I need to go to Officeworks now. So what I do with Officeworks is I go give them, let's say, I give them $30. I give them $30, and I have to promote my business cards. And what I do with my business cards here is I can stay with them, but I make sure either way, it's much better I do so. I mean, it's much better that I go print 30 business cards, but guess what? I promise you, the wait is around 1 hour. Understand? So what I need to do is, it's so much better for me to just let it be, and to just be somebody who gives them at the counter, and I just go. So what I do is I make sure my phone is in my actual shoulder bag always, because what I do is understand something now. I'm much more professional. Because why? Whereas because I'm more words than pleasure. I mean, there's women who seek out pleasure only from you, and they just want pleasure. But I seek out much more words than pleasure. And much more words than pleasure. You understand? I mean, I see the man she wants. I see goes for pleasure only. And when they go for pleasure only, I'm sure that's the worst thing. When they go for pleasure only, I'm sure if your man or wife or whatever, or anybody goes for pleasure, well, guess what? Then that's the worst. But if you go for words, it's the best thing. In a sense, so the fulfillment I get is that 14 hours just yesterday I spoke to you, and I'm really recording my whole life. But as I record my life, I realize something. I'm enjoying my life. I'm enjoying my life so much that I feel I'm ahead of the game. But some other aspects are getting slower in how I'm talking to you in terms of life. But guess what? My life is getting ahead of me in other ways. I'm saving so much time talking to you, and I'm learning very quickly upon exactly what I need to do to make sure that I have more time. Make sure you understand now. Since I'm actually going to Officeworks, I want to be able to print, let's say, 300 business cards, so I can go giving these nice and beautiful business cards at the Busby Central over here. I want to give people some promotion, and I give myself promotion. As I give myself promotion, I'm always looking to see where people are. I'm looking to see where their cars are, so as I reverse, I look backwards. Anyway, I look to the rear view mirrors as well to make sure that either way, I look right and left to make sure I get out of the driveway, and make sure that no matter what, I'm always talking. I know I need to be talking because guess what? It's a documentary of me. It's a documentary of what I do every single day. In a sense, there's always much more documentary to do. But imagine how much content I can give you. I can give you 70 years of this audio content, much more. In the sense, by the time you finish it, I'm such an inspiration, in a sense. And that's why I'm learning very quickly upon how I succeed. So I'm actually understanding that no matter what, then my journal here, or my nice and beautiful journal, is now my audio. My audio now actually helps you to succeed much more than my journal does, because you never have to read physically. You can read audibly. In a sense, so is it better to read physically or audibly? Approach audibly. It's always better audibly to read. And why is that? Approach now, audibly means that you hear. But let's say I realize in the real world, as I drive a car here, approach, it's much better to read physically. But let's say the words is much better to read via what? Audibly. Audibly is much better to read physical words than to read physical words physically. Because that's how it is, guys. So make sure you understand that if you want to do something in life, I see that as a pleasure. Whereas now, I see people in either pleasure or words. Are they pleasure or words? I would say these women over here, I can see they're more pleasure. I would say they're more pleasure. Whereas if they're pleasure woman, probably it's much more, if anybody's pleasure, and if I state them as pleasure, probably it's much more they masturbate, they fuck around, and they do nothing. I said. But anybody who's much more words is much more like Jesus Christ. I'm much more words. I'm always talking words much more. I understand that. So talk much more words every single time. I focus on understanding that now. Since I understand I do have some attraction with other people, and I'm understanding either way that what's important is I understand straight away how attractive I am. So when I look at their pleasure temples, I can say that guy there wants me around to do pleasure with him. They all want me around to do pleasure with them. They want me as a friend to be able to be around them to do pleasure. But never again. I never want to be around guys, ever. If I want to be around guys, then I have to be around people who are greatness, and that's it. That's all I do. I can be around Tony Robbins. I can be around my greatness mentors inside of my beautiful Instagram. And that's it. I'm pretty sure that when I see these people and how they look at me, I'm pretty sure most of them look at me in terms of words and speak good words of me, because I understand the other ones are much more pleasure about me, but that's how I feel. So what I do now is I understand that no matter what, I still speak and speak and speak, because I understand either way. But what I need to do is I did eat poison before, and luckily I did throw up multiple times. So if you did eat poison in terms of drink or food, then go vomit all of that out. Go and vomit as much as you can, all the poison. Understand? So make sure you never have poison. I never had poison. I never need poison in my life. I'm never poisonous. I never have poison in my body. What it does all though, you must vomit all the poison always if you want to succeed and never die. That's how it is. So what you have to understand that you have to suck it out of you. You have to get the poison and suck it out of you. Understand? How do you do that? If a snake bites you, or if you eat drinks and food that may be poisonous. I mean, throw up as much as you can. I mean, even with snake poisons, throw up as much as you can and drink as much water as you can. Always. But then also have anti-venom with you with snake bites. Roshi, now, yes, Roshi, now guess what? Roshi, anti-venom is the best thing. Roshi, anti-venom. Roshi, must put it in you if you have a snake bite. Roshi, now why is that? Because you live life. Roshi, now I see Steve Irwin. Roshi, Steve Irwin was bitten by a snake on the ankle or something. Roshi, on the actual arm. Roshi, on the arm. And he has some anti-venom in his car. And she's running and running and running. I mean, he's so serious about it. But yeah, Roshi, that's how it is. Understand? And for fuck's sake, I mean, it's a poisonous snake. Understand? So what you do is realize now that as I go throughout life, I make sure that I see something more. I see how I'm always much better now than yesterday. But people can always realize this much more about me now. And say, oh, I mean, nah, I mean, he's much more, I mean, he is doing much more work today than ever before. He's actually doing something today. I mean, he's actually improving himself. I mean, people can actually see that. People can see that I'm improving myself. That's it. I mean, as soon as they see $200 per ticket to see me, they can see I'm improvement. I mean, I can see I'm self-improvement. But as anybody who, let's say that, or as that Muslim guy before, I mean, guess what? I mean, he is more saying, hey, I mean, let's have some pleasure with my mates over here. I mean, he's inviting me to be in his group in terms of his mates. And I said, just you, man. I said, just you. I brought you now, guess what? With this, I did the best decision here. I mean, guess what? I mean, he believes that I was never his friend because I did reject his friends. But if people want other people around you, then just say, you can be around me and that's it. Because guess what? It's much more how they want pleasure. And if they're speaking pleasure for you in life and from you, all you want to do is make sure you understand this. I go into nice and beautiful office works here. I print 300 business cards and I walk away. And I do it in less than 10 minutes. And all I do is I come pick it up on a better day. And that's it. I never fucking wait there 1 hour for it to print. I understand? So when you're printing business cards, I mean, print 100 or 200 or 300 quickly or more. I mean, you can print more. And Officeworks Australia here has printing machines and you just up to 300 or more business cards. And guess what? I mean, suddenly just just give money and send it to the counter. And then what happens is you just come pick it up and that's it. I mean, either way, what you want to do all the time is understand all the time that you want to succeed differently. So I see she's more words. Alright, now what I want to do is focus on something that helps me. Alright, here's more pleasure. Alright, now what I want to do all the time is I see straight away when somebody's more pleasure, they're very protective about everything. I say every single time I feel what I need to see. So what I see now is that woman there, so much pleasure. I mean, every single day. Now what I want to do is figure this out. Figuring this out. It's much more how I feel. If you feel that you are skipping beats or skipping information, then make sure you're talking more words. And that's it. But you must understand that no matter what, the one aspect of life leads to another. But what I do now is to make sure I use my USB as my nice and beautiful counter type of individuality over here to make sure that you guys have to understand. I understand I never skip information because I'm still talking to you. But understand this, that what you need to do from now on is focus on understanding that you must go and grow yourself always. But look at people to see the pleasure and see the pleasure first. I mean, guess what, If you see the pleasure first, see only the words. See only the words, but guess what, It's much more how I feel that I must go and express my pleasure to have words. Guess what? I must express words to have pleasure. No. I must express pleasure to have words, and now the words is what I need. So what do? I look at everybody to see how much pleasure are they, and that's it. That's all. I stick to that basis. I understand that. I understand straight away how I can see are they words of pleasure because I can see them by their pleasure. Because if I see somebody with attraction about me physically in terms of pleasure, then they have more pleasure than words. But if it's more words, then they're more attractive to me if they're just more words. So what I do is I realize that I give off the nice and beautiful vibe here, that have words on me. I look very smart. In the sense that I have to edit the photo always. I have a USB over here, and my USB has one business card. Now I have to place the other business card inside my nice and beautiful account here, and now I have to do that anyway. But make sure anyway, what I want to do is I want to do a better life always. So as I do a better life, I make sure that you understand something. I'm very successful with what I do, so I'm always making sure that I have a better way. So I have a better way for I. But I'm not saying anyway that she's more words, which I must understand every single day. Focus on understanding. I see anybody who's more words with me is becoming more attractive, and that's it. I said, so if they're more pleasure with me, probably it's because they're unattractive to me. I said, but yeah, that's how it is. Unattractive people are pleasure to me. I understand. But guess what? If you want to have pleasure with them, then guess what? They look very attractive if you want pleasure with them. Understand? Yeah. If you want pleasure with those people, they look very attractive to you. But if you want words with them only, then you're always attractive, but they look unattractive always. Understand? That's the thing. But let's say there are people who want words of pleasure with you, and now you have to feel pleasure and words with them, and that's how it is. So there are types of people on the planet who want pleasure only from you, and other people want words only from you, and other people want pleasure and words from you. But the pleasure and words is where you want to be. You have pleasure and words together. But unfortunately, other people who just have words in terms of life, it's just more Jesus Christ. People have pleasure. Jesus Christ is more pleasure and words. Jesus Christ is pleasure and words. Whereas it's more, there are two types of people. There's pleasure people and pleasure and words people. That's it. I'll place a border this time. I'm sure I understand anyway. But what I do now is I want to send it to the counter. I want to make sure that I do something now to do greater. So I want to see what's happening over here. So I never want to print it here, but I want to understand anyway. I see counter service prints. So I went to the counter and I give them money and I go and just put my name in. Over here. And as I do this, I put my number in. I always place my number I always place my real number in to make sure that people can find my nice and beautiful number. So what I do is I get my phone out. And I have everything I need, but I give money with my phones only, with anything to do with FBOSS machines that's never buses. Whereas buses are screwing me over in some kind of regard. But I understand something now, whereas they're never screwing me over. It's much more how I feel. So what I need to do with buses, I need to get myself an Opal card over there, and I give money and I go. But I let it be this way. I want to see what number I am. Whereas now, since that's the case, I want to make sure that my phone is in my actual shoulder bag. I want to make sure, anyway, I apologize for that. Because my phone was in my pocket. So what I want to do is to make sure I give my number here. So I always place my phone in my shoulder bag before I do anything else. Now, I make sure no matter what, I have my word I before anything else, but make sure I place my shoulder bag before I get my shoulder bag and before I do anything else in terms of word I. Whereas now, anyway, as I speak, I also shall find, in a way, to understand that you guys have to realize something, that since I'm learning very quickly upon what I'm doing, I'm also able to explain my story and what's going on with me in terms of my story with you. So as I really speak, I realize I'm much more into I every single day. But I'm understanding that people only find me attractive in terms of the negative ones. Probably they only find me attractive because of pleasure. I understand, but I understand either way. If I want to, let's say, get a woman from a man, then guess what? If they're both pleasure, then I have to be more pleasure with them. But I never go that way. It's much more how, if I go pleasure with them both, now the guy who has pleasure is much more likely to give me a woman. But if I'm more words with the guy and woman, and it's a trio thing, the guy is so protective over the woman over here, and he wants it so much. He wants it so much more than me. But guess what? I see that. But if I'm more pleasure than him in life, it's much more how I see it. I win over straight away. I have more confidence in everything. So I just see that now. So every single time, I understand no matter what, just bought FBOSS machine. I always give money by FBOSS machine with my phone. And my phone can give the money to the FBOSS machine. And my phones today do the FBOSS machine. So what I do is I place money in my account here. because what I need to do all the time is make sure that you guys are recording your software and making sure you're doing what I'm doing here, where I'm understanding that you guys understand I'm speaking to you right now, and making sure that you understand that my words are happening. And I need to do some more synonyms too. I need to rhyme some more words as well. But I want to do everything in one time. I want to do everything with one time. And now I understand my money over here. I see I have to place more emphasis into counting money daily. I have to count money daily, I mean, understand? So now daily I want to be able to just make sure that I have more enough money to do everything. So make sure that you guys understand straight away that my phone never has to unlock for the money to go into a nice and beautiful way of life. So let's have a look at it. I mean, come on. I mean, so what I do with life is I understand my business transaction account is always doing that. I want to make sure that if I do anything, I want to make sure that my nice and beautiful transfer is going to the Stream Basic account from the Goal Saver from this time, and never the business transaction account, because I understand that my phone never has to unlock. I mean, my phone never has to unlock for me to give money to the FBOSS machine. I see. So either way, I'm giving you a nice and beautiful improvement over here to understand that my ideas are working. And as I work right now, I'm working much more than people at the 9 to 5 work and my legacy today. But today, I'm never working at the legacy, you understand? I can see I'm just very fast. And that's why I'm very, very successful. I'm very successful and I understand that. So what I do is I understand that guy there is pleasure, but he wants to be words, I can see it. Whereas anyway, I realize that no matter what I do, I'm focusing on understanding. I see that woman's more words. So I focus on making sure that since I understand something about life, I'm understanding that no matter what that, I realize this. So you're in the line? See? I thank you. Anyway, I want to make sure that I always ask questions. I always ask everybody's questions every single time, and I make sure always to see that she's more pleasure with me. Now, either way, I want to understand this. I understand this. Now, that's the thing. Now, it's more how I see the nice and beautiful way of being able to ask her for a number. I understand I can do it, but guess what? I see a lot of anxiety over here to ask people their number and what they are. So how are you? I just came to see this one, and I also just want to pick up on a better time.
Yeah, no problem. Give me a moment.
Thank you. So now, either way, I'm watching this one here. She's so into me now. So
Do you need them right now?
I need them in a better time. I can do it tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
I can do it tomorrow.
Yeah, so these are going to be released here, that's fine.
I know.
And then we'll send you an SMS when it's ready to pick up.
Thank you.
If you don't get an SMS in the morning, just give us a call.
I can do it in a nice and beautiful 24 hours. I can come back.
We release it from here, so don't worry about that. We'll send you because that's the right number.
So yeah, I mean that's my number, and you can message me always.
We'll send you an SMS. If you don't get an SMS by the morning or when you need it, just give us a call.
I'm no worries. And I mean you can also message me personally with your number. I'm no worries.
No, it gets it from the business one.
I mean, do you understand what I mean?
I get what you mean.
I mean, do you want to keep that?
That's okay, you can keep this one.
I see. I'm no worries.
Yeah,
Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you. Because now, either way, I realize now she is more saying to me that she wants words with me. I mean, but guess what? I mean, she's actually very much afraid of me right here. And why? I mean, why is she afraid of me? I mean, guess what? I mean, it's more how you must understand. I was actually saying to her. I was saying to her for her to message me, and because I'm understanding either way, it's so attractive when a woman wants to do words, man. And no matter how, let's say, I mean, no matter how her actual looks in terms of life looks like, I understand the important factor is to enjoy your life. Whereas she is so much pleasure. Whereas now, either way, making sure that no matter what I do, is I'm focusing on a greater life, and focusing on making sure that I'm doing something to improve my life. So, as I turn around like that, whereas I show nice and beautiful ways of just looking, while making sure that you understand that the difference between this and myself and them is I focus on understanding that woman there totally did just say debunk me, but guess what? Well, she is turning more to words over here. I mean, she is turning more to words, so that's attractive for me. So when they reject you to get your number, well, it's more attractive to me. So what I'm doing now is because she never did get my number, I mean, she's unattractive to me. I mean, she's very unattractive to me. Because she wants to lead herself into greatness with me. I mean, she understands that. I mean, she wants my number. But she's saying no. I love her. Unfortunately, why? Because she's afraid of me. I mean, she's afraid of me. And why is she afraid of me? Because she's afraid to give me pleasure in life. So all she wants with me is words. Understand? So guess what? I mean, it's more now that she is turning into words. So what she wants me to do is to get her into words with her. I mean, she wants me to convince her with words about me. But I just move on. I mean, guess what? I mean, if I do that always, unfortunately now it's much more how I have to do that. Unfortunately, I never have to convince anybody of my words. So why? Because if I try to convince her of my words, unfortunately, guess what happens? Unfortunately, she loves it. Unfortunately, she loves it. But because I did offer her already my number, and she never wants it, and she never wants my number, and it's very attractive. I mean that is unattractive. So what I do now is I move on, and I can just go straight. Like this one, I can go straight. Either way. So what's amazing is if you're parking, never go into reverse. Never drive your car into reverse. Yeah, be careful and always be looking before you actually sum up the ability to go anywhere. And make sure you understand that what you need to do in life is if you're parking somewhere and you can go forward, then go forward. But I see that woman over there, she's much more into pleasure with me. But I'm understanding anyway that when I really understand something about life, I'm saying she is more words with me. And anyway, whereas now I feel that I understand something now. Whereas I see that those women who never want me in my number, if I give my number, guess what? It's more never ask them for your number. Give your number first. Be the one to give your number first. Do you understand? But if they reject your number, then that's all the nice and beautiful world that you have. You have more than that. So what you do is understand this. Understand that is what you do. But if you ask them for the number and they give you their number, well, sure, you win. You win. But it's much better that you give your number. Never ask them for their number. Just give them your number. If they want you really, then they message you. They understand. But there's no need to be afraid. But every single day, just understand that now, since I actually improved myself like this, I'm moving on, and I'm picking up new skills, man. I'm picking up some new skills today, and I see this woman over here. But apparently, this one wants me. And some woman over here. Apparently, now I understand anyway. Apparently, it's much more how I feel. So as I feel, I shall reap. But I see she's more words. Whereas now, if you want to understand anything attractive about anything, that if you meet a woman who has words and she wants your number, but let's say you give her your number and she accepts your number and you tell her just call me, guess what? Now you have a woman who has words with you and you have a connection with words, and that's the best type of connection. But if you connect with pleasure, then if you have words and pleasure but they only have pleasure, guess what? Now you must understand that you have to lead them into words. You have to teach them how to do words with you. So what I do now is learn quickly that I'm very attractive in terms of how I speak words today. But why is that? Because I'm recording my whole life. Jesus Christ can see this. I'm recording my whole life, man. My whole life is talking every day. It's the most blissful experience I've ever had in my life. Why is that? Because when I talk 14 hours to you, just like this, I explain all the ideas of my day, every single day, and you can exactly see an audio book a day from me. Wow. Dr. Wayne Dyer can see this, man. 14 hours a day of audiobooks every single day. I love it. Wow. He says in his dreams, man. Guess what? Guess what? Bro, she's just away, man. I understand, but what's amazing is understand this. That every single day you go and really, really understand that Zig Ziglar says, understand every single day that if you get what you want, then you're making people get what they want. You must understand. So focus on understanding that you must go and promote yourself all the time. But understand my mistakes. Otherwise, my mistakes are what? Is my mistake pleasure or is it the words? Or is it the pleasure? But if I have pleasure in sex with words, Actually now, I'm never losing, am I? I'm never losing because why? I'm always doing something to help myself. Because the words that comes out of your mouth is something that makes up life. And if you want to make up life, then you have to have the words. So every single day, I focus on understanding that she's more words with me now. But I'm understanding that what I want to do now is I focus on helping myself to succeed. And I feel now successful. I feel so successful today to be able to speak all day long to people. Because what I do is different. I do something different. And because I do something different, I'm just able to speak more and more and more. Because I practice and practice and practice. I don't know. I can speak so much and it's just practice. I mean, practice to speak more like I do. I speak 14 hours a day on audio programs. I mean, just like this. I speak 14 hours a day and more on audio. I speak 14 hours a day and more on audio programs. I mean, do you guys understand that? I was very sick yesterday. I mean, why? Because it was very cold. It was very cold for me. But I'm understanding that no matter what, I have time. But the warning signals of, let's say, my promotion is 2 weeks. 2 weeks is the promotion over here. But make sure you understand that you must be promoting yourself and all your business cards prior to the 2 weeks. And then guess what? We're going to keep promoting yourself. But every single day, focus on a greater life for yourself. I mean, focus on something that helps you to grow. In a sense, so what you want to do all the time is, you want to make sure all the time that you're living life to the fullest to make sure that you have everything you ever want. I mean, you understand? So if you want that, make sure you understand that some people are so gross in pleasure, that I never want them. I mean, they're so yuck in pleasure. So I was so desperate before about some woman, and that was the most, let's say, disgusting moment of my life, and also the most beautiful one as well. I understand, and it is. I mean, it's both. I mean, it's the most disgusting one and the most beautiful one. Understand? I mean, it is. I mean, it's a contradiction. I mean, every single time, I understand everything in my life is a contradiction of yes and no. I understand? But guess what? That's exactly how it is. I mean, it's both angles. I mean, I see everything in both angles today. And because I see everything in both angles, I make sure now to just keep walking. I keep talking now. But what I'm doing now is I'm overcoming some demons over here. And why is that? Because I realized my phone here has done the lock. Well, actually, I didn't do the lock. But because I understand that I'm talking words, I want to make sure that it's recording. So guess what? I overcome the pleasure here, and I speak more words. So if you want to overcome pleasure, then you have to speak more words. So what I do is I stop somewhere quickly to make sure that my nice and beautiful phone is recording right now. So I make sure always to do this. I make sure always to make sure that I can go and really, really fetch for it the way I do live. So I make sure all the time now to understand something. So I just let it be. I'll see you guys very soon.